Throughout part of my research, I actually did a survey where I reached out to people who like formerly lived here or just live out there in general, and or Bangladeshi Americans, and I was asking them just like why did you leave, like, or if you were too young to remember, like, if you ask your parents, or why do you think they left, like what were the driving forces, like, and I got a lot of mixed answers. From that. So it was really like interesting. Like nobody was saying I was trying to climb the social ladder. Like they were saying lots of things about like better schools and
Better
but
schools, yeah.
and things like bigger homes, or like they're like the Walmart is closer, like things like that. Like so, and I think what struck me was a lot of people were talking about safety. They were just like, so like the suburbs just felt safer for them. And I mean, it was a time where I had to like take a step back, because a lot of people were saying that they had left recently. So I was just like, I'm like, where you were living before, you were already living in a very predominantly Bengali community, or very predominantly Muslim community. So I'm like, what were you trying to be safe from? I'm like, who, if you felt like crimes are being committed in your community, who is like committing them? I'm like, are you saying like, I mean, because at the times, like, there are, entire blocks where it's like almost all one ethnic group, and like, that's like very obvious, like people move, or like they're staying in intergenerational families, and then they got like brothers moving out, their families are coming in, and it just kind of like, those families are like, so, and one of the girls who had responded, and she did it very publicly, she was like, yeah, my uncle got robbed, and it turned out it was one of like, his other nephews, like my other uncle's kid, like, so it was just like, it's just like, we're talking about, so I had taught, it was like, are you, fleeing from your own, or like, what is it that, so we had like a very, comment about that, because I think a lot of people was like, oh, Hamtramck and Detroit, like, city of crimes and things like that, but it was like too tight knit that I think people got to a point where they weren't like really understanding what they were leaving from, because I have cousins who live out there, and when he first when he first moved out, there weren't that many other Bangladeshis that live next to him. Now almost every single house is the same way. So I'm just like, you just like shifted up.
Recreated
You're
it, yeah,
moving
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Like, so I'm just like, is this what you had wanted? I'm just like, were you leaving the community to leave the community, or did you just want this community in a bigger space?